With that being said, I'm going to turn it over for a presentation from Brava Home, and we have Zach, who's going to do that presentation. Thank you for being here, Zach, and it is all yours.
Thank you for having me. I'm Zach. I'm the head of product over at Brava. Let me pull up this slide deck real quick. Can everyone see?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Working? Perfect. Okie dokie. So here's Brava. It's a smart countertop oven, as you can see kind of right here. There we go. So Brava is the world's best cooking device, we like to say. So it's a smart countertop oven that cooks with light. And so as a smart oven, it automates the cooking process for you. So it really is as simple as telling it what you want to cook. It'll give you instructions on how to set it up on the tray. You press the button and it automates all the cooking for you. It's generally 2 to 4 times faster than cooking with traditional ovens. You can even cook 3 individual items at the same time on the same tray. It's got almost 8,500 recipes built in, but it can still do all the other fun things like dehydrating, slow cooking, air frying, keep warm. The reheat's awesome. But the way that it works, when I say it cooks with light, is if you see this little kind of X-ray version, it's got these 3 super powerful lamps on the bottom and 3 lamps on top. And these lamps are really special. They were originally used for industrial manufacturing in the solar industry. And kind of the special thing about them is that they reach full power in just under a second. But then when they shut off, there's minimal residual heat from them. So it's instant on, instant off, and they're incredibly powerful. So rather than a traditional oven kind of topping out around 500 degrees, the cooking power that we can get from these Brava lamps is closer to 900 degrees. So you can do things that you couldn't do in a traditional oven, like getting a hard sear on steak, things you'd normally do on a stovetop or a grill. The other cool thing about it is because it's light, you can't really see it here, but there's these reflectors on either side of each of the lamps. And what the reflectors do is focus all of the energy. Think of like a spotlight or a magnifying glass, so that all of the energy from the lamp is going directly into the food instead of the whole chamber wall. And this lets us get those kind of really high temperatures safely without heating up the whole oven chamber. But it also lets us cook in each of these zones independently. So when you see a tray that goes in there, we can cook in the 3 zones relative to those 3 lamps on the top and bottom, and set up like steak in one zone, potatoes in another zone, and broccoli in another. And what it'll do is it'll pulse each lamp independently, and cook each of the items to their own doneness, but coordinated so that it all comes out at the same time. That power and kind of control over how much energy that we're putting into the food also allows us to cook much faster. So if you think about cooking a tray of broccoli, even if you have a 900-degree pizza oven, if you put it in there, it's going to burn before it cooks all the way through. But what Brava can do is hit it at 900 degrees. And then right before the surface starts to burn, we turn off the lamp, and then we turn it on again, and we turn it off again. We pulse it to keep the surface temperature just below the point where it would burn. And by doing that, we can cook it as quickly as it possibly can. And then because the entire chamber is not hot, when we shut off the lamps at the end, it's not like a normal oven or a grill where it's still going to be hot. And if you don't get the food out right away, it's going to continue cooking. When we shut off the lamps, there's minimal heat left in the chamber. So the cooking effectively stops. So there's not the same kind of rush to get the food out. I mentioned a lot of these here, but so that's kind of how the heating elements work, but then that's all driven by software. It's basically a computer. And so we can do lots of fun things there, and we can update the software. So we've got 8,500 recipes. We release new recipes every week. We even add new cook modes periodically. it can, I mentioned the reheating. You think about reheating something in a microwave, it's fast, but it kind of comes out a little bit soggy. Brava, you reheat, the reheat experience is about the same, maybe a minute longer, but because it's real infrared heat, it actually crisps everything up. Same for like frozen foods and stuff like that. And then it shuts off at the end without continuing to cook. Uh, Another cool thing about the Brava is because it's instant on, we don't have to preheat, and you just set everything up on the tray, place it in the oven, press the button, cooking starts immediately. Um, because it's not heating up the entire chamber, the sides of the oven don't get hot, so it always remains cool to the touch. And then, as I mentioned before, the automatic start shut off. Um, Searing power. This, in this view, you can kind of see what the touch screen looks like. So if you're cooking steak, for example, it'll ask you some questions like how many steaks you want to cook, what size they are. It'll ask you doneness preferences. Do you want it medium rare or medium? And so it'll ask you these questions about what you want to cook and how, and personalize all that for you, and then automate the cooking done to your perfect preferences. It'll remember all of those personalizations. We've got a bunch of other features on top of that, where even though we've got 8,500 recipes in there, we've got a feature where you can build out your own recipes. We call it custom cooks, where if you have your mom's favorite lasagna recipe, you can program all of that in there, dial it in exactly how you like it, and then run it and anytime you want to, just automate it. It'll cook it all for you. You can even share that out with folks. So that's all great. There's actually a camera inside the oven that'll stream what you're cooking to the app. And you can go back and see time lapse of all the cooks that you've had in the past. There's a lot of fun stuff that the oven can do. Um, when we first designed the Brava, we didn't really have assistive technology on our radar. It wasn't until I guess fairly early on we started hearing from older folks, and we started working with. I remember the first one I heard was about a couple where they'd been married 50 years, and the husband had never done any cooking, and then the wife had had a stroke and wasn't able to cook any longer, and they were eating takeout, and their health was declining because they were eating kind of not healthy home cooked meals until their kids got him a Brava. And then all of a sudden he was able to start taking over the cooking and cooking fresh meals again. And from there we started working with some independent living facilities and aging in place centers. And then about a year and a half or so ago, we noticed a bunch of sales coming from a company called Proven Behavioral Solutions, which is an AT agency out of Massachusetts that works primarily with folks with autism. And so we reached out to them, and as we started learning more about it, we realized that a lot of these benefits that the Brava has kind of for everyone take on a more impactful meaning for people that are dealing with various challenges. So things like the safety aspects, the automatic on, automatic shut off, the fact that you can do things you normally do on a stovetop, like cook a steak or grilled cheese without having to flip or worry about the open flame. The fact that you've got the fully guided recipes, that there's none of that or no testing for doneness and things. There's just a lot of these benefits. And so for the past year or so, we've really been leaning into that and reaching out to various agencies around the country and listening to people and meeting and trying to add new features and ways of improving the experience for people. And kind of through that process, back to why we're here today, one of the things that we consistently heard was that one of the least accessible parts of the oven currently is the touch screen on the oven itself, both from an ergonomic standpoint for folks in wheelchairs and things like that, but also for people with blindness or visual impairments. So for the past year, we've been rebuilding the whole back end of our app. setting it up so that all of the stuff that you normally do on the touchscreen on the oven can be controlled from the app and is integrated and leverages the screen reader functionality on iPhone and Android, so that it makes it easy for a blind user to use the app to search for, browse, discover what they want to cook, make all of the necessary selections, and then get instructions for how to prepare the food and arrange it onto a cold tray. And all they have to do is send the recipe from the app to the oven using voiceover, slide the tray into the oven and cook that way. And because the oven stays cool to the touch, you can orient yourself that way and know the positioning of everything, and then not have to deal with the difficulty of knowing, oh, well, this recipe says cook 10 to 15 minutes or until brown, or trying to deal with flipping something on a stovetop and the burn risks associated with dealing with hot pans and flipping and manipulating foods that way. So we're really excited. We partnered with the Lighthouse in San Francisco, and we've been doing user testing with them and trying to really optimize not just the app experience, but the content within, so that it's descriptive and really clear and simple to navigate, to make it easy for people to handle all of those kind of interactions. And I was hoping that it was going to be launched by this presentation, but in those user tests, we found a couple of tweaks that we needed to make. And so we're looking to launch the new app in hopefully the middle of October. Is what we're shooting for. And that app update will go out to all of the existing Bravas that are out there. And so everything will be, the whole fleet of Bravas will then be accessible via voiceover. Fun stuff that we're planning once we get that app update out once we have that, we've started playing around with some of, instead of just the voice over integration, more voice control options, and playing with some of the new AI powered conversational search and setup of recipes, so that people can, say, I want to make something with chicken, recommend a couple of options, ask questions, and set everything up just using a conversational interface. So it's all stuff that we're excited about. I think that's good. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I forgot to mention, we've got a discount code too that we'll share out, and is in the presentation that we just handled. Sorry, running through. I couldn't see the questions before, so let's see.
Back, I can read off some of the questions
Okay.
for you. I tried to answer anything technical around dimensions in the chat. But let's see, we had a question about if it could be linked to Alexa or Google to announce your settings or preferences.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We built that out and then never released it because it ended up causing more confusion than it was solving. Alexa and Google are both very prescriptive in the words that they use, and because Brava has a bunch of different recipes, and there's some questions about the sizing and some extra instructions there, that it was guiding people down incorrect choices. But that's where I mentioned the voice control that we're talking about now, where instead of just listening and running a specific command, with a lot of this new AI stuff, it can be aware of what the options are and ask follow-up and clarifying questions, as well as being more flexible in terms of the natural language that people are inputting. So the things that we've been testing are making it a lot more kind of flexible and realistic in getting the right answers for people.
Sorry, Sorry,
Yeah,
Zach.
no worries.
We got about 25 seconds left. I just want to let you know we're close to the end.
Yep, for sure. Washing the interior, it doesn't get super dirty. Oh, somebody answered. And it's cleanable. Pans, accessories, yes, you can buy them. Monitor someone's actually cooking. Yes, you can do that. We've been working on remote options and especially for AT specialists to be able to support people remotely.
Music muted. I
You
tried
know
to
what,
answer most of the questions in the chat.
Zach and Annie, I just want to say, I love your way of presenting, because I know that there is a large number of people who are on this session who are saying, so what is, at the beginning, so this is really cool, but what does this have to do with assistive technology? And I love that you didn't lead with that, and you let people hang a bit, because a lot of people were saying, Zach, I'm sure you weren't watching, Annie, you saw it, that they want, like I want this for my, I want to get rid of the microwave. And I love the idea that I can cook a steak, a baked potato, and something else at the same time, because like that's just awesome, because I'm a lazy cook. But
Yeah, I mean
Like-
that's realistically how we got here, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I think everybody is pleasantly surprised. We don't often see, the Internet of Things, the world of access for home products like ovens and stoves and refrigerators and microwaves and the whole, like all equipment. And I just have been excited for you to join ATIA and be part of us last year for the first time. So thank you. And
thank you.
I think you'll be back in Orlando again as well this year.